This is a video for those of you who are interested in learning more about Inject. It's going to explain how the process works and what value we can provide to you. One of the important things to know is that Inject is not a recruitment agency. We're a recruitment process outsourcing business, or known as an RPO. An RPO is a little bit like a buyer's agent versus a real estate agent. You understand that when you're buying property, a real estate agent is there on behalf of the house, whereas a buyer's agent is there on behalf of the buyer. People who are serious about buying property, they use buyer's agents. And an RPO is no different. When you're looking to build a high-performing team, you use an RPO, and we're there to work on your behalf. So, should you be working with an RPO? First of all, people often hire based off the resume and qualifications, yet fire based off attitude, aptitude, and behaviours. So an RPO like Inject flips that around. The second thing you should think about is, do you want someone who's going to be working on your behalf, making sure that the wrong people don't come in? Particularly for small to medium businesses, if you hire the wrong person, it can be toxic for your culture. It can destroy business value. So we use valid and reliable assessments to make sure that that doesn't happen. The third thing is that if you're a premium provider to your industry, if you are looking to challenge how things are done, there's no point recycling the same industry people within your company. They're going to come in and do things the way they did elsewhere. They're going to perhaps come with some bad habits and bad attitudes. And really it's not going to be the right thing to deliver your strategy. So we look at alternative talent pools where your competition are not looking. We provide a proposition to those people to say, hey, come over here to this industry. And then we use our assessment tools to make sure that those people are the right people. The next part about working with an RPO, like Inject, is that because we are hiring a lot of your people, we're getting to know your culture and your company really, really well. There are some companies who we hire all their roles for. Other companies use us for some of their roles whilst utilizing our assessment services for everything else. They may have referrals who come through, or they might actually work with recruitment agencies. And so we still act on their behalf to make sure that those people are the right people. What's also beneficial is that if you have referrals, sometimes it can be awkward if those people don't get the job. They might have been referred by your customers, family members, so you just put them through our process, and if they get the job, then fantastic. They got the job off their own merit. But if not, you can blame us basically, because we assess them out. What's also really important is that what we do is very transparent. We tell you if we're advertising, we tell you if we're searching. In terms of the candidates that you see a transparent view of those people. There's no changing the resume. There is no making someone seem better than what they are. Again, because we're acting on your behalf. Now, one final thing that's important to say, and this is something that might go without saying, but it is a question that we get. We don't poach your staff from you. I know a lot of people are concerned about using an outsourced provider because they've been burnt before. That's not our model. We work on your behalf. We never poach your staff. The final thing to be aware of is that our pricing model is different. We just get paid for the work that we do. So when we are hiring a role end to end, we set a maximum spend for the role and a minimum spend if we do hire that person. So you just pay for the work that we do. It ends up being more cost effective. Also, that means that we're not incentivized to place a candidate for a commission. We just do the work, we get paid for it, and you get a great result. A lot of people want to know what's the process that we go through. The first very important part of the process is to conduct a job brief. Now, our job briefs are very thorough. We need half an hour, possibly an hour, to go through it in detail. And the reason for that is that this is where we determine the strategy for the position. A sales role is not a sales role. A customer service role is not a customer service role. There are many differences between different positions. And so if you get that part wrong, you're going to hire the wrong person. We also need to define the competencies, look at the essential and desirable criteria, and really get into that role in depth. Now, we won't set a budget for the position until we've conducted a job brief. So some people ask, well, what would the budget be? After the job brief, we'll be able to give you a clear budget for the role. Once we've conducted the job brief, we will send you back a document that explains exactly what we've heard and make sure that we're all on the same page. After that, then we'll go about drafting an advertisement. Now, this advertisement is designed to attract the high performers into the role. And there are certain aspects to it where we hit emotional triggers so that those people who we want are going to apply. Now, of course, we're going to get a lot of people who apply who aren't the right people, but we can filter them out fairly easily. Some roles require a proactive search. For many roles that's not required, but some roles do require that, in which case we'll talk that through. Once we've got candidates who have applied through or we've found through a search, we conduct a phone interview. The phone interview is there to determine their motivation for the role, we'll be assessing things like communication and asking knockout questions to make sure that they're the right people to go into the mix, the ticket to play, that sort of thing. What's important to know is that we're communicating with you throughout the process. You'll receive approximately 2 emails per week, which has details of who's applied, who we're talking to, who we're screening out. And that way, you know what's happening. It also gives you an opportunity to raise any questions, or if you think we're off track, you can let us know. The other thing that we do is we have a fortnightly meeting for 15 minutes on video. What that means is whilst there's communication that happens throughout, we always have that checkpoint to make sure we're on the same page. That meeting may go for 5 minutes, it may go for 15 minutes. But it's really important that you attend and we attend to make sure that we're always aligned. After we've conducted the phone interviews, we conduct a behavioural interview, which is usually over Zoom and recorded. What that means is that you actually see us interviewing the candidate. We conduct behavioural questions, which are designed to identify that person's behaviours. The theory is that past behaviour is the best predictor of future behaviour. And so those things that you're looking for, someone who's very organised, who manages their time, who deals well with customers, who has good attention to detail, all of those traits are assessed in the behavioural interview. Now, you receive that recorded interview as a link, and you can watch it on your phone or on your computer in the evening, first thing in the morning, whenever you like. Now, you don't have to watch that interview before we progress. Because we're assessing the candidate based off the criteria beforehand, we'll just continue to proceed. If you think anything's off, you can let us know. Most hiring managers like to just watch a snippet just to see a bit, read our summary, and we keep moving. At the point at which they are due to meet with the person, they might watch it in full. So the next part of the process is the psychometric testing. And this is an essential part of what we do, because the psych testing uncovers areas that you can't get during an interview, no matter how good you are. The OPQ, the Occupational Personality Questionnaire, is one part of the psychometric testing. This identifies the candidate's preferred behaviours. Someone may be good at something, but they may not like doing it. If you think about whether someone is likely to adhere to deadlines, they like attention to detail, they like interacting with people, these are important parts of certain jobs. If that person doesn't have natural energy for it, chances are it's going to come up as an issue one day. So it's important we know that. With the aptitude testing, we don't need them to be brainiacs, but what we do need is a certain ability to learn and solve problems. It's kind of the figure it out factor. Below a certain level, it's going to be a problem. We'll go through in detail as to how the psychometric testing works in another video. So you might be wondering, at what stage do you meet the candidate? And that's where we're at now, the hiring manager interview. So at this point in the process, you've seen a lot of the candidate. We've assessed them through the phone interviews, so we've addressed the knockout factors, their motivation for the role, and other attributes. We've assessed their behaviours in the behavioural interview, which you've been able to see through video. We've assessed their preferred behaviours in the OPQ and their aptitude as well through the aptitude testing. Now, you get all this information ahead of your interview. What we also do is we provide you with some questions that you can ask and further delve into areas that we might want to know about. Plus, it's an opportunity for you to get to know the candidate and to talk about your company. We have another video on this part of the process to help you to be successful at this interview. Once you've conducted your interview, we're nearing the end of the process. And it's really important that we know ahead of time who's going to be involved. Ideally, we just have one interview at your end, possibly two, but we need to be quick in terms of how we organize that. So ideally, we have placeholders in diaries ahead of time so that everyone knows when they need to be available. Once we've gone through all of those assessments, it's time to then look at reference checks and if there are police checks or other checks to be done. At this point, we're talking about the offer with the candidate, reconfirming things like salary expectations and what you're going to put on the table. We coordinate with your internal team in terms of getting the letter of offer together, or if you're working with Beyond HR, we'll be doing that on your behalf. So for the final part in terms of the employee offer, hopefully we gain a verbal agreement, get the employment agreement to them, they sign it off and they're ready to start. We also provide you with a candidate assessment report, which brings all the assessments together and gives you some tips on how best to manage and lead this person. It's really important to have this because we do a lot of assessment and there's a lot of information that can help you not only hire the right person, but set them up for success along the way. We then conduct a debrief with the candidate on their psychometric assessment results and with yourself so that everybody's on the same page. So at this stage of the video, we've spoken about what we do, but you might still be wondering, is Inject the right company for us to work with? And there's a few things for you to consider. First of all, we don't promise to be the fastest hirers. If you're wanting someone next week and the priority is speed, we may not be the right ones for you. Ideally, yes, we can hire someone as fast as possible, but sometimes it takes time. We are confident in our methods though, that can actually hire the right person. What's really important also is that we don't take jobs that we don't think we can succeed at. Hence the job brief process is really important and we'll advise you as to whether or not we think we can do it. One other thing that you may be used to, and this is a common thing where people will want to see the 3 best candidates and choose from that group. That's actually a mistake that a lot of hiring managers make. That's a comparative criteria, whereas you need an absolute criteria. Think about it, if I offered you 3 rotten eggs and said, choose which one is the least rotten, would you eat it? Well, you're not going to. You want an egg that's actually tasty and good for you. And so it's no different in terms of hiring the right person. Our objective criteria will tell you, if you interview this one person, whether they are likely to be the right person. It'll also tell you these 3, 4, 5 people are not going to be the right person. We're not going to put people in front of you who don't meet the objective criteria. In terms of the types of roles that we're best suited to, it's anything where attitude, aptitude and behaviour are the primary criteria. If you're looking to hire from within the industry and industry experience and knowledge are the most important things, we may not be the right ones for you. We can still assess those candidates, but we might not be the ones best to source it. But beyond that, we're across a lot of different positions, whether it's customer service, administration, sales, technicians, finance, marketing, all sorts of disciplines we can hire for. What we find is when we have clients who have shared values with us, we tend to hire the majority of their roles, if not all of them. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found it useful and informative. If you'd like to know more, please watch our other videos, or we'll be happy to have a chat with you to learn more about each other.